Hello. So we'll have a little listen to this. This is JD Vance, who's the Vice President of America, and he is in Munich. He's in Germany at the Munich Security Conference. We'll have a little listen to what he says, and then we'll have a couple of thoughts on it.
I believe there is nothing more urgent than mass migration. Today, almost 1 in 5 people living in this country moved here from abroad. That is, of course, an all-time high. It's a similar number, by the way, in the United States, also an all-time high. The number of immigrants who entered the EU from non-EU countries doubled between 2021 and 2022 alone, and of course it's gotten much higher since. And we know this situation, it didn't materialize in a vacuum. It's the result of a series of conscious decisions made by politicians all over the continent and others across the world over the span of a decade. We saw the horrors wrought by these decisions yesterday in this very city. And of course, I can't bring it up again without thinking about the terrible victims who had a beautiful winter day in Munich ruined. Our thoughts and prayers are with them and will remain with them. But why did this happen in the first place? It's a terrible story, but it's one we've heard way too many times in Europe and unfortunately too many times in the United States as well. An asylum seeker, often a young man in his mid-20s, already known to police, rams a car into a crowd and shatters a community. How many times must we suffer these appalling setbacks before we change course and take our shared civilization in a new direction? No voter on this continent went to the ballot box to open the floodgates to millions of unvetted immigrants.
So you've heard there JD Vance addressing the elephant in the room, right, on front of EU representatives or whatever, right, those in the EU, leaders of individual European nations, right. So the cat is out of the bag. We have, which, look, is essentially, call it whatever you want, we have the leaders of Western civilization, Donald Trump, JD Vance, that's what they are. You don't have to like it, but call a spade, that's what they are, right. And hang on there, I got a bit of dry skin. They're changing the direction that things are going to be going, right? And they're not just reserving this for America, right? Because this is not just an American thing, right? This is a global effort, or this is a global issue that we're facing. Or if not global, it's at least a Western civilization issue, right? And we can cap it at that if needs be. But ultimately, it's a global one because we're dealing with Africa, we're dealing with the Middle East, we are dealing with South American people, right, coming here across Europe and wrecking the place, right, destroying people's lives, forcing them to live in uncertainty and hell daily, right. The inability to rest assured that your family members are going to come home safe today, right. You can see it in Ireland as well, that the Interpol are after recognising or creating, at least anyway, the anticipation that something, if it's going to happen in Ireland, it will happen on St. Patrick's Day. Rational enough, logical enough, right? But this is the nonsense that people have been forced to deal with, right? Over the years, people have been screaming into the wind, getting nothing back but name calls and derogatory statements, and being doxxed and having their information released to the public, and being battered by guards and being arrested for nothing, and being up in court and having the judges, having the very judicial system and the very court system, the law legal system in Ireland, fall on them like a ton of bricks, right? This is what people have been dealing with in Ireland over the last few years. And now the most powerful nation in the world, the most powerful nation in Western civilization, right, at the moment, those leaders are now speaking out against this stuff too. So for everyone that stuck their head above the parapet over the last few years, well done, bless your soul. May your name live long in recorded history and in spoken history and remembered history, right? And give yourself a pat on the back, right? Because you done what was needed when it was needed, instead of doing what you prefer to do and doing what was easy, okay? So be proud of yourself. You've been, if you needed it, you have been wholly vindicated on the world stage now at the moment, and the winds of change are there. So anyone who's dragging their heels in supporting the previous decisions and the previous the ideology that's dead on its knees now. We're at the funeral of this sort of stuff. This is what we're witnessing here. You have J.D. Vance up, and he's essentially given a eulogy to a previous ideology that has no place anymore. It's dead and gone. It ran its course. We've seen the effects of it. We're done with it. Now it's just time to get our heads together and start building up, clearing out this country and cleaning up this country and getting our people back to some semblance of common sense again, right? And getting all traders, getting everyone who's involved in forcing this hell onto people. Get them in front of military tribunals. Get them in front of legitimate judges, not these district court nonsense judges that have no business in this country and are just solely there to extract money, more money out of you over nonsense, over inconveniences that you might have stepped over, right? Nonsense. Get these people in front of military tribunals because they have used their position, they have abused their position, they have abused the faith that people naively but willingly give, the trust that they give to these elected representatives. They have abused their position, they have enriched themselves endlessly and their friends, right, to make your life a living hell and to allow you to live in constant fear and uncertainty as to what might happen to you today and what could happen to your family today and tomorrow, right? So these people need to be punished. These people need to see justice in this country, and long may it be televised, and let everybody have a day off to watch these things, right? Let's get this place back on track. Let's get people healed. Let's get people together again. Let's build up communities and have people feel safe in Ireland once more.